Hello everyone, this is Money Mom. Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to chat with you guys about why do I keep gaining my weight back. Let's get honest and let's get talking about it. So, why do I gain my weight back? I do have to kind of go back to the beginning. I do have several reasons. I'll try to make this a brief video, but this one may go over a little bit. So, I started, quote, dieting, whatever you want to call it, when I was about 14. I wasn't overweight until then, and I wasn't even that much overweight. Before then, you know, when you're younger, your parents control everything you eat, okay? My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and so we couldn't just go in the kitchen and help ourselves. We had to ask for snacks and food. Let me know if you guys had to do that when you were young, because I couldn't just go grab something. I had to ask. And many times it was, wait till dinner, get a glass of water, you know, things like that. So the first time that my mom put me on a, quote, diet was when she noticed that all the other teenage girls, I was 14, were thinner and I was getting heavier. Now I'm going to tell you what heavy was back then. This was in 1978. I was in 8th grade. So it was like the summer or before 8th to 9th grade. And then I got on another diet the summer before 9th and 10th grade. And I weighed 138 pounds. I was 5'3" at that time. I'm 5'4", 5'4.5", right around that now. And that was considered large. And at the time, my mother said, you're wearing a size 11 in juniors. Sears, where we primarily shopped, had size 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. She said, Dawn, or Donnie, she called me, if you go bigger than that, you're going to either have to go to women's or we're going to have to go over to Montgomery Ward's, and there's no guarantee you're going to be able to get a size 13 or size 15 because there's not a lot of those sizes. So we need to put you on a, quote, diet, okay? So she put me on a diet. Like I said, I weighed 138. I don't know about you, but I would love to weigh 138 pounds right now. Can I get a hello from anyone? So mother put me on a diet like it was 1,200 calories a day. It might have been between 1,000 and 1,200. I was constantly hungry, and this is number one reason I gained the weight back. Number one, it felt like an unattainable punishment. And nobody else had to be on a diet, okay? My sister wasn't dieting. My parents weren't dieting. But I had to be on a diet, and I didn't know anyone else. So when you feel all alone, like you're being punished, and you can't eat all this good food. So we had a lot. My parents both come from large families, and so we always had social gatherings at my house. And of course, my mother's a fabulous cook, and I'd be allowed to have some things, but I'll give you an example. The one time we made, I don't remember what my mother made, but I remember there was corn on the cob, and everybody was eating this buttery corn on the cob with butter dripping from their mouths. And I'm going like this, going, oh, and I get some dry tuna. Okay, and my mom says, well, Dawn, it's a starch, so you can have some corn, but I'm going to give you a small portion. So she cut a little teeny piece like that. It was dry. I wasn't allowed any butter or any salt on the thing. And this girl sitting across from me was going, oh, you have to be on a diet. And I'll be honest with you, I wanted to do something unkind. I will just use those words to this particular person, but I knew I would get in trouble. And of course, she was, you know, eating this great big corn on the cob with dripping butter. And so you get the idea. It felt like a punishment, and it has felt that way because when you feel like you're the only person on the face of the earth and everybody else gets to go out and eat pizza, but you're the only one that gains weight, that's what it felt like then. And sometimes that's what it feels like even now because it really is helpful when you have other people doing it with you. That's the truth. So I felt like I was being punished and that I would gain weight easily, and I just didn't enjoy a lot of the foods that I was eating, so that kind of goes along with the punishment part. Number two, and this is more as I got an adult, I get bored. Unless I have something fun to work towards, there's many people out there that have successfully lost weight and kept it off. I know I keep shouting them out. Nicole Collette is a great example, but there's other people as well. They always say, we make this journey fun. Even at Tops, you guys know now that I joined Tops, Taking Off Pounds Sensibly. They have been around for 75 years. They said to make this sustainable for life, and they call it keeping off pounds sensibly, because there are people that have kept it off for years. You have to make it fun and something enjoyable and sustainable for life, and not deprive yourself, but that, you know, hey, you're going to have your ups and your downs, but you have to make this something fun. Give yourself challenges. When we do our TOPS meetings, each week they have a new challenge. And so you always make it something kind of fun and enjoyable, and you encourage one another. So I think that I would get bored, and then I would, when I got bored, I would start to revert back to habits rather than, okay, Dawn, you're bored. What can we change? Are there some new recipes? What new exercise routine can you do? You know, things like that. Can you reach out to a friend? You know, something of that nature. Okay, number 3, I mourned the way I used to eat. I mean, I really don't even have a full button sometimes. And literally, there are things that I can eat an enormous amount of food. And so there are times where I miss it. Like I remember when my husband and I got married, of course I was smaller then, but I was definitely major overweight. We would go to a pizza buffet place and I would just love it. And I love like pizza with the Canadian bacon and pineapple, and I would just eat and eat and eat. And you know, there's no reason to overstuff yourself like that. But whenever I would eat little, quote, light meals, like one of my friends and I went to a restaurant where they had a light and fair menu. I'm going to tell you, I ate one of those meals and I almost felt hungrier afterwards. Let me know if that's happened to you guys, where you actually eat something that's supposed to be satisfying and it makes you more hangry after you eat it. That's kind of how I felt. So I mourned the way that I used to eat and being, you know, a pig and just eating all this food, because I love the feeling of feeling really, really full. Because many times when I've quote, dieted, been on a weight loss journey, whatever you want to call it, you never felt like you could eat an amount of food that's going to stay with you for a while. And so you were just eating something to tie you over to the next meal. That's what it always felt like, because you're eating a small amount of calories, and at that time, many times you're eating low fat, these little small portions, and you felt more like a little snack, a little teaser, and you're like, okay, well, I guess I got enough where I'm not hungry, but you'd be constantly thinking about food because you never ate enough to actually satisfy you and stick with you. And I actually mourned it. Number 4 reason, I wasn't getting the results anymore. I mean, I know people say slow and steady wins the race. Everyone has to do what works for them. I've heard that there's many studies, they say the slower you lose it, the better you keep it off. For me, that is the opposite. I have to start seeing results. I'm actually doing this video on Wednesday, February 7th. And I guess since January 1st, I've lost 16 pounds, which I'm feeling good about. I know as you lose more, you don't lose as fast. But I can tell you, if I'm not losing at all, it's really easy to revert back to bad habits if I'm not getting results. That was starting to happen in January, so I said, whoa, stop. What are you doing? What can we tweak? And so I started tweaking some things, eating my dinners earlier, eating lighter dinners, and drinking more water. So I started tweaking some stuff to change things up. So not getting results anymore. Okay, this is a huge one. Number 5, I didn't have a strong enough why. Why did I want to lose weight? And all I thought about was losing weight. I never thought about keeping it off. All I thought about was losing weight part, okay? And so I just didn't really have a why, and I didn't really have a plan, except, you know, I was just kind of winging it many times. And so that was part of it, but I didn't have a strong enough why. I'm at the point now that it's actually a critical point due to some pain from inflammation, because I have to stand and do my demos. So it's actually at a critical point where you have to. You've heard people say, hey, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired moment. Well, that was me. It was like, okay, Dawn, you're 57, you're going to be almost 58, you're pushing 60. We don't know how much longer you are going to be here on this earth, but your quality of life is going to keep going down, down, down. I know I told you guys on one video recently, I think it was Thomas Lauer said this. I really like him a lot. He's another wonderful YouTuber that gives lots of information on nutrition. And he had lost a bunch of weight years ago. And he said, yes, the average American's lifespan's gone down. And he said that this is the sad part. When people start to get in their 60s, their health actually starts to decline. So basically, you're on this slow descent. So it'd be one thing if you're living this great quality life and you die at, say, age 80, but let's say all of a sudden at 60s you start having health issues and your health starts going down, down. So you're on this slow decline. And so every year it gets worse and you don't have good quality of life. That's where I am headed if I don't do something. So it's kind of like it's urgent for me. So I have a really strong why right now, but in the past I didn't have a strong why. Okay, number 6, I really was missing out on a support group. And at that time, you know, because I don't drive and because of my lifestyle, I didn't know if I could go, go to actual meetings consistently. Now that they have these Zoom meetings for tops, there's no excuse. I think there's 6 meeting choices. And the community is great. There are men and women and people of all ages, but you just meet such fabulous people that, and they also have a Facebook support group. They have a website with tons of information that, I feel like I'm immersed in this really positive group and everybody's doing something different. So you don't have to fit into a box. That's the thing I like. But I was missing a really strong support group, and that was, I think, one of the biggest key ingredients. So I know I mentioned this. I'll be a member of Tops for Life because I definitely need it. Okay, number 7, I'm pretty sedentary because I work from home Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yes, Thursday through Sunday I am standing a lot, which kind of helps. But because I'm swollen and have inflammation, especially if I have a double demo, it can be kind of painful. Every 10 pounds I lose, the swelling goes down. And as a matter of fact, my doctor said, I don't really think this is swelling. I think it's fat. And it's interesting because once I hit below 200 pounds and I'm 170, 180, I really don't have the swelling. I hope that's the case this time. Okay, the other reason why I gain weight back, number 8, is hunger. Because eating minimum amount of calories, you do go through some hunger because, if you're used to eating an enormous amount of food and now you're eating smaller amounts, you can really have some times where you get those hunger pains. I don't have as many now. What I'm working on doing is higher fat. A lot of people think higher fat, are you just eating a bunch of garbage? When I say fat, I'm talking, I do have some dairy like the cottage cheese, avocado, things like that. Yes, I do eat meat. I don't eat enormous amounts of meat. So healthier fats is kind of what I'm eating. And just for anyone to know, I have really good cholesterol. My cholesterol, last time I got it, the total cholesterol number was like 170. So the doctor's very pleased with my cholesterol numbers. But I definitely can have a lot of hunger. What I do now to combat that is I generally eat twice a day, larger amounts, and I make sure to have some protein and fat in there so it stays with me. So the big thing I'm working on now is reframing all of my things that I believed about myself and about weight loss and keeping it off. I have a lot of brain work to do to be successful. Do I think I'm going to keep it off this time? I sure hope so because I think this is the 9th or 10th time I've done this and I definitely want to lose weight and keep it off. I don't have a goal weight in mind right now. At this point, I'll just be thrilled to be under 200, celebrate that, and then see where I go. This is the good thing. What I'm doing now is each week and even sometimes each day, I reassess what I'm doing and look for ways to improve things. But I'm not beating myself up if I maybe don't succeed in certain areas because I can always improve. So let me know what you guys think. If you've lost weight and gained it back, tell me some of the reasons you think you've gained your weight back. I shared with you some of mine, and I don't know about you guys, but I am finally ready to lose weight and keep it off for life. That's all I have to say for now. I appreciate you watching this longer video. I love you, I appreciate you, and please come to tomorrow morning's video. Bye-bye.